The internet is a strange place. People post all kinds of things, you name it. Jokes, opinions, hobbies, advice, random moments from their lives. And for the most part, everyone finds the little corner that feels like it fits them. But not every corner is harmless. Some spaces go beyond shared interests or harmless communities. Some find joy in watching others suffer, or stalking people until they go mad. Today, we're getting into some horrifying corners of the internet. Make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. And let's get into it. Donna Shine. What if you had the power to get rid of anyone you believed was a bad person? The people that were evil, malicious, sinister. Maybe they hurt someone you love perhaps. Someone that everyone would agree should be off the streets, away from society, forever. And to make that happen, all you would have to do is write it down in a book, make a wish, and poof, they're gone. Fans of anime and manga aren't unfamiliar with this idea, because it's the very plot line of a hit 2006 show called Death Note. It starts out with a young student named Light Yagami, who finds a notebook that looks normal on the cover but holds much more than just average paper. Light quickly discovers that when he writes down someone's name and pictures their face, they die. That's all he has to do, and then they're gone forever. At first, he tries to use it for good. He targets criminals, thieves, and abusers, bad people, monsters. But with any good story, this quickly turns into chaos. All that power, Light Yagami can't get enough of it. It turns from something used for good to something used to satisfy an empty pit of greed. No matter how many names he writes, no matter how many people die, it's never enough. Hatred and violence start to fill his heart, and then he becomes the monster. But this is anime, and it's a great story for TV and manga. But it's hard to imagine anyone like Light Yagami existing in the real world. Someone filled with so much malice that, if given the option, they would write down the name of anyone who got in their way, or anyone that even bothered them. Right? Well, go to Donna Shine and you'll think again. Donna Shine was a website created in August of 2015. Immediately, I noticed the inspiration it got from Death Note, because behind everything are two characters from the show, Ryuk and Rem. These are two of the Shinigamis, which are basically gods of death who write human names in the Death Note so that they can extend their own life. And these two faces lurking in the background set a tone of creepy that only grows the more I click through the site. I do want to preface by noting that the majority of the site is in Japanese, so everything I include is translated from Google. So it may not be exact, but from what I can tell, the introductions say, "The Death Note is here. Welcome, Master, to Death Note. To write in the Death Note, you must first pick it up. So go ahead, enter a name and an email address, and claim the Death Note as your own. It's alright, rest assured, no retribution will be exacted. Probably. It's for sure an off-putting introduction. But on the other hand, that intro kind of makes it seem like a fan page for someone that's really interested in the show and wants to pretend like they live in the same universe as Light Yagami. Of course, it's somewhat bizarre for someone to imagine they have the ability to kill anybody they want, but it could be like a video game, a space for people to play pretend. Well, it is a safe space, just not like that. The thing is, in Japanese, Donna means husband. Shine could mean a couple of different things. One of those translations is go to hell. The other, die. And that's no coincidence. On the front page are a couple different sections on the right-hand side. One section being links to categorized posts. The first one is titled as, "I want my husband to die." Clicking on this option opens up a whole new world to the site. I'm flooded with entry after entry of distraught women, wives that are sick and tired of their husbands, women who are at their wits' end. Some just need a place to vent. They want to get away. They want a divorce. They just want something to change. Donna Shine gives them a space where they can vomit all these feelings out and have other women support and rage with them, but that's not everybody. In October of 2016, one user made this post. All show on the outside, utterly self-centered. A death wish. For 3 whole months now, every single day, I've been thinking, just die. Hurry up and die already. Both my child and I would be able to live in peace if you were just gone, both mentally and physically. You're a truck driver, aren't you? Go get into an accident and die. It's vile, filled with anger. It's more than just letting off steam. She is praying to whatever God she believes in that her husband leaves this earth forever. And really, this is the true purpose of the website: to give these desperate women a sliver of hope that if they write out their own death note, then the misery called their marriage has an end in sight. But sometimes, one post isn't enough. The site gives an option to click on the profile that made a post and see what else they've uploaded. It even categorizes their posts, so other people can see if they're mostly writing about something trivial like divorce or if they have murder on their mind. The user from the previous post is the latter. When nothing happened after that post, she took to Donna Shine again. Just die already. Because of your existence, I've suffered terribly, financially, emotionally, and physically. You're completely self-centered. You're more childish than a child. You gamble on pachinko, and you're a womanizer. You even embezzled the money from our year-end tax adjustment. Give it a rest, for God's sake. You didn't lift a finger to help with raising the kids either. As far as the children are concerned, it's as if you never even existed. You're a truck driver. Why don't you just go crash and die? I've suffered enough, financially, emotionally, and physically, all because you're in my life. Just vanish from this world. Die. You're nearly 40 years old, yet you still make your own parents cry. What kind of person are you? Seriously, just die, die, die. Obviously, she wants nothing more than for him to kick the bucket, but all that desperation, it raises the question of why wouldn't divorce be enough? With all that resentment, why not just leave? Well, that's easier said than done in Japan. Of course, divorce is hard on anybody, especially with people who have kids, which most of these users do. No one wants to split up their family, but it's more than that in Japan. For many women, to be divorced is to be not pure. This comes from a stigma based around something called the koeski. What that is a family registry system where a new spouse would have their name added to their partner's registry. If the couple divorced, their name would be crossed out with an X, a symbol called batsu, which translates in English to incorrect or bad. Obviously, this turned into a deep-rooted shame over divorce. No one wants an X over their name, to feel blemished with that forever. And on top of that, divorce laws can be more complicated in Japan and very difficult to navigate. In general, it's a huge pain that women tend to try and avoid. While a lot of this stigma has been improving and divorce rates are getting higher, some of those habits still linger. No matter how much their skin crawls when their husband touches them, how much they flinch at his voice, or how they don't even want to look at them, they still stay. So they feel the only option is death. Luckily, Donna Shine is a real-life website, and we don't live in a supernatural fantasy world where there are gods of death that carry out the death wishes of a psycho teenage boy, or in this case, an unhappy wife. But it doesn't make it any less disturbing because their feelings are very real. And those feelings get even scarier when, in some cases, something actually does happen to the husband. One user writes in, "He really died. Death entry. It has been a few months since I started writing in this notebook. It's hard to believe, but my husband really died. The cause of death was heart failure brought on by sleep apnea. I found him cold to the touch this morning. I called an ambulance just in case, but they simply confirmed his death at the hospital. Honestly, I'm happy. So happy. So happy. Thank you so much, Mr. Reaper." This isn't just pent-up feelings that she needed to get off her chest. She called an ambulance to make sure he was dead, not to try and revive him or save his life, but to have confirmation he was really gone. And how do the other people on the site react? Well, the comments are filled up with things like, "Congratulations. I'd really love for you to take mine along with you too. I woke up, was it this morning? Or the middle of the night, to the sound of his snoring. I'm really hoping that means he's coming down with something. It doesn't have to be while he's sleeping. Even right now while he's at work would be fine. Or since I hear he's planning to go out this weekend, that would work just as well. Please, take him along with you and make it a friendly trip. My piece of shit husband suffers from sleep apnea, or is at least borderline, so I beg of you, please, take him along with you. Congratulations. I am so envious. My little one has apnea too, so I really hope some of that good luck rubs off on us." It just gets more and more horrifying the deeper we go. Donna Shine is a pit of true disgust. Fantasy after fantasy of rage, violence, murder, death. It's not too far off from a hitman for hire site. While it's a debate that those even exist, a lot of these wives are only one step away from the dark web to try and find just that. It says something about how violent people actually think when given the opportunity to share it. And honestly, it's horrific to read some of these posts. I guess at some point in the last couple of years, it became this way for others. Word got around and someone decided these women couldn't have such a safe space anymore. Now the site still exists, but it says forbidden when opening. Everything I just read is on the Wayback Machine, archived on the internet. But that doesn't take away the feelings that all these women had. Even with Donna Shine down, I'm sure they're all still feeling homicidal towards their husbands. It may be worse now that the site is down. Hopefully they found another way to express themselves, or a healthier way to work out their relationship troubles. Otherwise, all those thoughts stay suppressed. Try not to explode. And with nowhere to scream, who knows where all that rage goes? r/obsessive love. Somewhere on Reddit, there's someone right now typing up a post on r/legal advice or r/ask Reddit looking for help with someone a little too obsessed with them. Someone they see everywhere. They get 50 calls a day from blocked numbers. There's cars following them on every street they turn. No matter where they go or how far they run, someone is right behind them. Watching, waiting. Comments flood in with support, advice on what lawyer to call, which locks to install, and how quickly they should file a restraining order, because when it's that bad, the answers are always the same. And by the end of the day, the victim has to turn their whole life around just to feel safe in their own home. Each moment is a living nightmare, with danger around every corner. I feel bad for these people. Everyone does, of course. It must be terrifying to feel like your life is on display, like you only exist for someone to watch you through your blinds. But what most people don't see are the ones on the opposite end. Tucked away on a far corner of Reddit are the people who peek through those blinds, who install tracking devices, the people that know someone's routine down to the very second. The stalkers. These are the people that can't walk around in real life blabbering about their disconcerting hobby unless they want to face the consequences. But luckily for them, they found a safe haven, somewhere they can say whatever they want with no backlash, no accountability, and no repercussions. Welcome to r/obsessive love. A post from March of 2025 gives a great example of the nature of this community. Stalking fail. I usually stalk her Twitter, since while I was blocked on Discord, for some reason I wasn't blocked on Twitter. She recently got a girlfriend, taking everything in me to not track her down. And I accidentally liked one of her posts, so now she's blocked me on Twitter too. Stalking a social media account may seem like no big deal. Many people do that before first dates or months after a breakup. But here, it's what's in between the lines. OP keeps getting blocked across multiple platforms. Clearly, they've been asked to stay away. Probably repeatedly, and time again. They haven't listened. They can't listen, even to a simple and reasonable boundary. But it's not just the post that's unsettling. It's the reaction it gets. You could use a VPN to get around the block if you feel so inclined. Can't you just make a burner account? No, they can't, because that's crazy. But not to the users of Obsessive Love. It was created on April 22nd, 2019, and the bio reads, "This is a subreddit dedicated to yandere content, mostly stories from personal experiences or just casual conversations. Due to the fractured nature of the yandere community as a whole, this place is meant to serve as a safe haven for both the tamest and the most extreme yanderes out there. For some people, myself included, a yandere is a foreign concept. Basically, it's an anime archetype that's usually a female character who is romantically obsessed, to a point of wanting complete possession. They may come across as innocent at first, but their infatuation quickly becomes all-consuming and violent, murderous even. But this community isn't just for talking about favorite characters from popular anime. There are some subreddits like that, like r/yandere. This is more the place to go if you want to post edits and talk about a shared interest. This subreddit is different. This is dedicated to people with personal experiences with this type of thing. It's for someone that identifies with being a yandere, like this user, who shares a couple of normal fun facts about themselves and an explanation of why they're there. I am a self-described yandere. I am multiple yan types simultaneously. I'll elaborate further in DMs, I think. I've known of being a more obsessive person since I was 11 years old, and I have adopted the term yandere for myself at 15. This has made it difficult for me to find a relationship, so I am choosing to abstain from them. I am a diagnosed schizophrenic, and I am suspected to have some form of cluster B disorder, though I will not disclose which. This is important to note as it affects how I handle obsession. There's many types of yandere, which I learned after reading this post. There's dependent, harmless, worshipping, eliminating, attacking, stalking, delusional, isolating, and monopolizing. So it can range from an average clingy partner to a literal abuser. But on r/obsessive love, that's okay. This last user honestly wasn't too bad. They seem pretty self-aware of themselves and don't look too inclined to jump on every impulse they have. But this is far from the case for others. I can't blame them though, when the rules of the subreddit kind of allow people to say whatever they want. As long as they don't admit to doing anything that would land them in jail or, even worse, get the subreddit shut down. I mean, God forbid. Rule number 2 says, keep it legal. While this may be a subreddit for obsessive peoples, murder and abuse is still illegal. While we personally might not shun you for it, that's crazy, the police will disagree. And getting into legal trouble is a prime way to get the community shut down by Reddit, which is crazy. It feels like the moderators are saying murder and abuse are okay with us, but you know, cops and stuff. Nowhere do they try to remind people that despite their urges and crazy thoughts, they obviously shouldn't hurt people. Maybe if they did, posts like the following wouldn't exist. Oh my God, she posted about me on the subreddit. She posted about me on a subreddit for stalkers. What should I do? Throw away for obvious reasons in case she finds this too. Edit to clarify. She posted about me on a subreddit for stalking victims. I know I'm the stalker. I won't deny it. But basically, she has caught on to me tracking her. If she went to the police with this, they of course wouldn't be able to see my point of view, which is that she needs to be watched over in order to be safe. She has a history of not taking care of herself, and those around her are too lazy to do anything to keep her out of harm's way, in my opinion. I need to know whether I should reply to her on alts saying it would take too much time, money, and resources to trace this person down, and to not be so paranoid. For reference, it was posted in r/stalking. Update. She deleted the post? Is this a bad sign? Is there any way I can get this post back so I can save it? I need to have a reference of exactly what she said and therefore noticed. Honestly, this one left me a bit speechless. One of those innocent victims just mentioned earlier, who has nowhere else to turn and finally built up the courage to ask for help, has this person who cannot take the hint? They're playing it off like it's out of concern, like it's for her safety, not considering how vulnerable this person must feel because of them, the stalker. OP explains more about the situation in the comments, which just makes it so much worse. I used an alt to message her, and the car she says that's been following her matches up to mine, the model and number plate. She's caught on to me tracking her. But of course, no police are going to understand I do it because I'm worried about her. She goes through rough patches. She's thinking of going to the police if the tracker in her car can be traced back to someone. I want to know, should I reply to the post on an alt or something? Telling her it's probably just from the car dealership, tracker in her car, and not to waste money and resources tracing it, or what? Edit. Other things I'm worried she's caught on to. Basically making sure she's okay in person if I know she's been particularly down. But also the fact I have access to things like some of her accounts. The fact I also get people to check up on her if I can't under the guise that she is going to do something. Even if she isn't actively thinking about it, as far as I know at the time, but I just need to know where she is and if she's safe. Her spending time away from home makes me so anxious. I wish I could say posts and users like this are few and far between, but this is pretty standard. People like this who seem completely oblivious to the fact that they're literally harassing and stalking someone. But then again, the subreddit is called Obsessive Love, and that's the main problem. Everyone, like that guy, thinks they're acting out of love. There's one user who pops up repeatedly, who is a great example of this. Their first post was in August of 2025, where they made an introduction to themselves and a series that they were going to put on the page, a stalker's journal. Hola, my name is Pilar and I am a female yandere. After stalking, dating, and romancing my lover, Target, I ended up marrying him. His name is Finian, and we have been married for 26 years, been in a relationship for 26 and a half years, and I've been watching him for 27 years. At the time we married, I was 20 and he was 19. I will be turning 47 in September, and he will be turning 46 this January. At the date of this posting, we've been together 9,659 days and apart 32 days in total. We have spoken every day. I actually count the days in my journal. I've kept a journal since I was 10 years old, and I continued keeping my journal while I was stalking him. Journaling is odd. It will reference a chronology of your life, but that really isn't the focus. Journaling really is a place where you pour out your feelings in context of the moment. I have promised to some Reddit followers to post my series so that you can read for yourself the thoughts of a yandere type personality. You will be able to read for yourself how a romantic avoidant essentially spiraled out of control. That was just the beginning. The user has over 100 entries, each one going over small moments in the life of who they were stalking, each class he went to, what he was wearing every day, who he was talking to, and when he was talking to someone he wasn't supposed to, things got out of control. A stalker's journal number 72. Oh my, Jan, do you realize what you've done? Thursday, November 5th, 1998. Amiga. Okay, I think I know what's going on with Jan. It took some effort, but I really believe I understand what is happening. My theory is that Jan entered college and found that she had similar attention getting skills as she did in high school, but she had a larger playing field with more benefits and freedom. She likely got a boyfriend relatively quickly but felt bored with him. She enjoyed the attention, so she ramped up her flirting to get attention from all sorts of men. This is likely a lifestyle for her now, but she has no serious intentions for anyone, even her boyfriend. Her sorority didn't know at first, but they are catching on. Of course, mommy and daddy don't know anything except that she's passing her courses. She's a player and likes the game. It's likely that her boyfriend is semi-serious, and Robert is just the guy she finds attractive who gives her attention. Finian is another guy she finds attractive, but he doesn't give her attention. This pisses her off. He is likely wanting something else, something more serious and mature. Everything else Finian does is mature, so I don't see a reason why this wouldn't be either. They're testing each other. She is flirting, asking if he wants to play, and he is testing her, asking her if she's serious. This is good news for me. All of this I think I can confirm from what I discovered this afternoon. I was checking Jan to find out she was maybe pursuing Finian at another time of day. I was really worried that maybe he was in fact the other date the Kappas were hiding. I know Jan's schedule, and I waited outside her last class in an unnoticeable place. One of those strange hallway desks. Her calculus class let out and I watched each of the students leave, but no Jan. I thought I missed her in the crowd, so I got up and left after waiting about 5 minutes. As I walked past the door, I saw her and the teacher's assistant embracing and flirting. I was shocked because that is a problem for both. So I backed down the hall and thought about what to do. I had a moment of inspiration and I got my camera out. As I walked by again, I took 3 quick pictures, hardly looking. I just uploaded them to my computer. 1 is a mess, but 2 are actually quite good. Just crooked, but you can clearly see them both. So that means I have 2 photos of her and the teacher's assistant, 3 photos of her and Robert, 4 photos of her and Blondie, and 4 photos of her and Finian. I deleted the photos where you can see Finian's face. I just want a photo of her seen with someone else without hurting my love. Now, I don't really care what Jan is up to, or Robert, or her boyfriend, or Blondie, or the teacher's assistant, or the Kappas. Just stay away from Finian and I. He is mine. I have so much on her now that if she dares any more funny stuff around him, I will go scorched earth on her. I am not here to save her. I am here to marry Finian, if it goes well, and get my degree. I need to confirm her intentions, and I see no better way or any harm with a meet and greet. She has no idea who I am or what I've been doing except for the simple fact of being curious about her sorority. I'm going to call her or the Kappas and talk. Then I will decide what to do. I will protect Finian and I. She knows what she is doing is exploitative and wrong. She will curse her decisions. It reads like it's out of a book, but from what I can tell on the profile, they're completely serious about everything they post. To them, it's 100% normal to pursue someone like this and stalk someone like this. Obsess over everything they do. Feel a sense of possession over them, waiting for the right moment to pounce. It's like hunting. But hey, to be fair, in this case, it ended up working. They don't mention his reaction to her stalking in those posts, but they ended up getting married, so I guess something charmed him. Others would not feel so smitten. User Invisible Throwaway 25 posts on May 15th, 2021. My best friend is being stalked by a dangerous, obsessive lover, and I need insight. We've tried everything we could think of and it hasn't worked. The stalker is too cautious and basically hasn't left any evidence one could give to law enforcement, so that's not an option currently. It seems me and my friend will have to handle this alone until the stalker slips up or makes a huge move that leaves enough evidence. Right now, I just need insight. I want to know how an obsessive lover thinks and if that behavior can be eased, and how any insight would be useful. Thanks so much in advance. You all can't comprehend how much I need this. Thank you. Unsurprisingly, this post doesn't get a lot of attention. Not as much as others that ask for advice on being the stalker. Users are much more interested in that, not someone whose life is actively being turned upside down because of them. One person does sympathetically comment saying, I feel ashamed that one of our own would cause the person they claim to love so much distress. If I am able to help, feel free to message me. However, be aware that every obsessive lover is different and may act differently. But not many others share the same sentiment or self-awareness, despite how harmful they act. They just continue on as if it's normal and an act of affection, even if it comes down to life or death. On July 30th, 2022, a user posts, sometimes I fantasize about killing him. I love him so much that I want to be the one. The thought of someone / something else being the cause of his death is sickening to me. I want to be forever tied to him. I want people to think, oh, Gray killed X and nothing else. I want my name and his name to be tied together forever. It's the idea that life is so precious that I want to be the one to take and cherish his. I want him to do the same to me. I'd die happy knowing it was him who took my life. He would see me at my most vulnerable, and that makes me so happy to fantasize about. This is all fantasy as I know it. Would be terrible to do so, but my brain can't help but fantasize and think about it. It's like codependency on steroids, complete enmeshment with the other person, except instead of toxic, it's terrifying. But users like these I can almost feel bad for. Clearly, they don't act on these feelings and do what they can to suppress themselves. It may even be scary to them to think on these things. We all have intrusive and crazy thoughts that we would never act on. Although, the problem is how r/obsessive love isn't just a venting space, but a community that uplifts each other and supports fellow users on this way of life. They affirm each other's personality types and identities, like they're trying to break the stigma that behaving this way is insane, even though it is. Because while this previous post may have been a fantasy, I'm not so sure that others feel the need to keep everything in their imagination. When someone asks the following question, the response is actually horrifying. Would you kill, or at least harm, a love rival? Let's say there's a love rival flirting with or leering at your darling. Would you kill or at least harm the rival if you could get away with it? Would your answer change if your darling showed interest in the rival and flirted with them, but the rival wasn't interested but darling wasn't their type and turned darling down? No one held back in these comments. Someone says, if it's possible to get away with, then it depends on how big of a threat they are. Using that word sounds weird, but it's the only one I can think of. I'd probably try to kill them if they're a big enough threat, or my actions being heat of the moment. I'll threaten small threats, ones that get too close but not too close to be considered big, and that are too chicken to say anything, or at least don't have a good enough trust with the one I'm doing it for. But going about trying to kill and harm someone is tricky. I know you said, we get away with it, but that wouldn't matter to me. These aren't things you just do and expect to get away with. Harming someone, they can just tell on you. You'd have to have a lot of trust with the one you love, and have a good persona of someone that isn't angry, very little angry, and can't hurt a fly to get away with it so smoothly. But people will still be against you regardless because it doesn't work smoothly in the real world. Trying to kill someone in its own level of difficulty takes planning, smarts, convenience, and luck to get away with. And then another user posts something that's honestly too graphic for me to even read, but some of these replies are just insane. And another user says, oh, screw legal reasons, I would. She belongs to me. These people that they love aren't actually people to these users. They're viewed as property, something they can own. And how their target, for lack of better terms, feels doesn't actually seem to matter. Their targets can confide in their friends or Reddit or even go to the police, and still they try and find a way to control each and every move their target makes. And when their victim, or darling in their mind, fully blocks them out of their life, they turn to their fellow obsessors to show them how to continue onwards with their yandere way of life. They call it a crush. They call it protection. They call it love. But at the end of the day, it's stalking, it's harassment, and above all, it's wrong. But until everyone stops co-signing each other, there's no end in sight for the targets of r/obsessive love. And alright guys, that wraps up some horrifying corners of the internet. I hope you enjoyed today's video, or at least found it interesting. If you did, please consider leaving a like down below, comment your thoughts down below, and please subscribe to the channel. It helps more than you know. Follow my Instagram, follow my Spotify, and if you enjoyed this video, I'm sure you will enjoy some other videos on the channel, so go check out some other videos. And I just want to say thank you so much for watching. It means the world, and this was Snook, and I'll see you next time. Bye.